stand 4 or 5 witnesses saying the exact opposite.
You called him an honest, honorable lawyer just a few weeks ago.
Yeah.
What changed?
How did I know? Why would I have not thought he was? I mean, I never had a bad dealing with Michael. I was being straight and honest. I didn't know that he taped conversations surreptitiously. I didn't know he would grossly violate the attorney-client privilege. I didn't know he would mislead dozens of reporters and tape them all over the place and pretend to them directly, I'm not recording you.
How much of the evidence that the FBI sees from Michael Cohen's, place of work and residence relates to the president beyond tapes?
Well, let me see if I can make it about as clear as possible. We know of something like 183 unique conversations on tape. One of those is with the President of the United States. That's the 3-minute one involving the McDougal payment, AMI McDougal payment. There are 12 others, maybe 11 or 12 others, out of the 183, in which the president is discussed at any length by Cohen, mostly with reporters, all clearly corroborating what the president has said in detail on many of those tweets. In other words, that he didn't know about the payments to either one when they happened, that he only found out later, that Cohen made them not for the campaign. He didn't like the campaign. He says very derogatory things about the campaign. He said, I only made it because I personally love the president and Melania. And that's why I made the payments, which takes it right out of the campaign contribution arsenal. So these are tapes I want you to read. I want you to hear them. I didn't think I'd be able to get them out publicly, and somehow he and his lawyer have this crazy idea, just throw it all out there. I think they also don't realize it's going to hurt them with the prosecutors. When I was a prosecutor, I didn't want some guy giving out all the evidence to the press.
But you do want these tapes released now?
I can't do it. I mean, I'm not allowed to do it. We've not leaked a single tape. I think if you check with the reporters who did the stories, they tell you that. The Times came forward and made that clear. We don't violate these rules. However, we are allowed to refer to them if they put them out. Why they're putting them out, someday somebody is going to have to figure it out.
You mentioned
they're doing it.
You mentioned Karen McDougal. This recording that was made public earlier this week relates to her. She claims she did have a consensual affair with the president. But I want to ask you, beyond this case, beyond Stormy Daniels, were other payments made to as yet unnamed women around the time of the 2016 campaign?
There is a conversation about that on one of the tapes in which I think Chris Cuomo asked him that, and Cohen says no, denies it. Said that there were no other situations like this. Was
that an accurate statement by Cohen?
As far as I know, yeah. I have no evidence to disprove that. And we've searched the records. I mean, remember, both these payments were made, or at least the McDougal payment was going to be made through a corporation. Well, you're hardly going to make an illegal contribution through a corporation. And that whole dispute about check or cash really couldn't have been done any other way but by check. It's a corporation, after all, making the payment.
But you maintain that payment didn't actually occur?
That one didn't happen for reasons, I guess, that AMI wanted to keep it. They probably saw value in keeping it. I mean, I know a lot of people raise questions about it, but it's pretty clear from the tape. This is a straight out now legal and business transaction.
The CFO for the Trump Organization, Alan Weisselberg, was subpoenaed this week to testify in the criminal probe around Michael Cohen. Does any of this cross that red line that the president has said in terms of touching his own personal finances?
No, I think these are about the things we're talking about to see are they corroborated, and they are. Or they could be about other things that they may have some knowledge of that Cohen was doing independent of the president. I should finish that discussion of the tapes by telling you, yes, there are 183 presidents on one, mentioned on 12 others. There are then an untold number of other tapes that do have no relation to us, meaning President Trump, that have to do, I guess, with what the Southern District originally rated him for. Those tapes, I don't know what's on those. Now, if they related to us, the government would have to give them to us. The government has been totally ethical about this, so I don't believe there's any question. But there's a lot there for them to investigate. And, you know, when you just look at a box, you can't tell what it contains. But I sure wouldn't want to have that box there in the FBI's possession if it was me.
All right, Mr. Mayor, there's always another part to this story. We'll continue to track it here.
Every time I talk to you, it changes.
Well, we look forward to having you on again. I'm going to speak now to a friend of yours, Larry Kudlow, the director of the President's National Economic Council. Larry, welcome back. So good to see you.
Thank you.
We did have a good economic